Chatters. I'm Nat.
And I'm Kat, and welcome to the Crime Chat. I'm your forensic femme fatale. Natalie is your true crime addict connoisseur.
We're just two normal girls who obsess about dark crimes, evil minds, and occasionally the unknown.
And here is your disclaimer, chatters. The following crime chat contains adult content, and it will contain descriptions of violent scenarios today. I'm guessing, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Listener discretion is advised.
Yes, you've been warned. And before we get into today's crime chat, Kat, what have you done?
Just staying busy. I don't know how not to be busy. If I didn't have anything to do, I'd go nuts. But the work's going really well. So my husband did come up and stay for a couple days in between his shifts. I was working, so I didn't really get to go out and do a whole lot, but we went to this local brewery called the Brew Link Brewery, and it was probably the wittiest, kind of coolest place. Like from signs that they had up in the brewery to like the menu, and for instance, it had boneless wings, and under the description it said, let's face it, they're pretty much adult chicken nuggets. Like things like that.
Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah. And then there was a sign that said, amazing beer for your mouth hole.
Cute.
So it was just like a really cool, like laid back environment. So the beer was really good, and they have craft beer. And I got Peeling All Right wheat ale with blood orange.
Ooh, oh, you brought some back.
Yeah, you could buy. Oh gosh, darn it, Zoom. Yeah,
there it is.
You could buy it.
Oh,
and this is the one that I tried because it's their.
what's the art on the can?
It's got like a ghost skull monsters. There's an owl. Oh, this is so cute. It's got a ghost like with a crown on and its tongue hanging out. But it's called Peeling All Right.
That's cute. I like that. I like the can.
I'm gonna pop that top. Yeah, so I was like, I really, really liked it. And I got, because we ate dinner there, so I got full, beer's more filling. And I was like,
yeah.
Do you sell this? Can I take it? And they said, yeah, actually, they had a 4-pack. So I was like, I'll take a 4-pack. It's yummy.
I never drank beer. I'm not a beer drinker, but I'm not drinking right now.
Well, yeah.
Health kick, but
stay focused.
Very jealous.
Stay focused.
I got my Gatorade water.
There you go.
Look how interesting I am.
Well, it's blue.
It's blue, right?
So as I've been here, like I said, work is going well. It's been very busy. I was having a conversation with a coworker of mine today, and I was having a hard time explaining. So I'm giving you guys kind of like a fair warning. Words are not my thing today. I am not able to think and articulate. And I said something to my coworker about it, and he's like, same thing. He's like, there's so many of us. It's like we all got to Indiana and we got dumb. I was like, okay, I'm not the only one. But while Chris was here, we did watch a movie as well. We did some walking around a little bit, but we watched a movie with David Bautista. You know who that is?
Yes, I do.
So he's in a movie called Killer's Game, or The Killer's Game.
Okay.
And Terry Crews is in it.
Okay, I love him.
And basically, he's a hitman. It's a comedy slash action. Meets a girl, falls in love, wants to retire out of the game. At the same time, he finds out he has this terminal illness and he's got like 3 months to live. So to take care of his woman, he pays for somebody to take him out so she gets like the money and the funds and everything like that. Like 15 minutes before it was go time, when all of these assassins were kind of like going after him, his doctor's like, it was a mistake. They switched the labels at the lab. So he's trying to like survive now because he's not really gonna die. It was cute. It was a different take, I like those when it's not like you were saying, I think last week, it's not the same storyline over and over. So
yeah.
And that's kind of it. That's it. Yeah, and my professor did tell me that he thinks that Andrew Lester's a creep, like is a creepy guy. He listened to the episode last week. And I was like, you right. Yeah. Like, yeah. I needed a shower after that.
Yeah, I was super creeped out, especially sharing my story. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. No. But that's about it. How about you? I love your hair.
Oh, thank
I
you.
love
Thank you. This is
it.
my second stage. So there's another stage after this. So it's not complete, but it's a struggle. Getting to blonde, it's a struggle, but I'll get there.
And then when you're able to get to the like the blonde shape that you're going for,
Hmm.
how often do you have to like you have to really stay on top of it, right? To
Actually, it's less work than what I was doing when my dark hair. So
really.
dark hair, like I still had like little grays creeping
Oh
in.
yeah.
I've been going gray since I was 20.
Yeah.
So like it was always a struggle for me. And with the blonde, you don't have to dye your hair as often. It just fades. The gray will just fade into the blonde hair. I just
Yeah.
don't like right now. I haven't dyed my hair since this stage,
Hmm.
which is like what, 3 weeks. And normally I would have to dye my hair like every 14 days.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well,
The dark is harder to keep
yeah,
up when you have gray.
I do. I've got some, and I think I've got more growing since I've been here. But I've noticed that because my hair is darker, and a couple years ago I was doing that all the time, like had the highlights and everything like that. I went black and then I went red, and then
Hmm.
I went back to my natural color and then started to do a lot of highlights and lowlights, and it was easier for the grays to blend in. Then
Hmm.
I haven't dyed my hair in probably 3 years, and
Has it been
I
that
can't
long?
tell. I think so. Two, at least two, if not three. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Time flies, man.
So you have virgin hair.
I do. I don't even think there's much left on the ends, and my hair's gotten like super long. So I get it. No, I get it. That makes sense.
So I started playing a new game,
Yay.
a horror game, an indie horror game. It's three parters, and I think you would love it. It's called Remothered.
Mothered?
Remothered.
Remothered. Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not based on Silence of the Lambs, but they took that formula and
Hmm.
they made a game. So you have a character that is Clarice. You have a character that is Buffalo Bill.
Yeah.
You have a similar character to not necessarily cannibal, but somebody that like that was a doctor. They took Silence of the Lambs and they put it in a horror game
Yeah.
with a huge mansion and a twisted
Love
storyline.
it.
Like twisted. I It got darker and darker, and honestly, I think Silence of the Lambs isn't as bad as this game
Oh.
because they went a little bit further into Buffalo Bill. Like he is the star in a way, like
Hmm.
he's the character that she's after.
Hmm.
Just like the movie.
Yeah.
But the twist there is she's there because she's looking for his missing adoptive daughter
Uh-huh.
who's gone. They can't, and we don't really know. Like she's not an FBI agent. We don't exactly know until the end who she is,
Okay.
but she's there to find the kid. And I don't know.
Wow.
And you're never gonna play it, so let me just tell you the whole thing.
Well, I
So
mean,
the father,
you never know.
the oh, you
Give
okay?
me, give me 20 more hours in the day.
Yeah, I'm telling you,
That's a,
it's good. You've got to get PlayStation 5. It's so good. It's so
I had
good.
another friend, a coworker, tell me today. He's like, "Well, if you get bored, because he's kind of from this area, he's like, if you ever get
Mhm.
bored, try check out, like this north. I think he said northeast Indianapolis. There's like a shopping area. I don't remember the
Mhm.
town or area he mentioned. And I was like, if I ever get bored, I am never bored. There is always something that I have to do. But he did say you have to check out this restaurant. It's a fudge shop. He said it's really good fudge. He said the name of it is Uranus Fudge Shop. And they tell you, welcome to Uranus.
Oh my
You
god.
walk in, he's like, the fudge is really good.
Oh my god, gross. I don't want to eat fudge ever again. Ew. Oh my god. That's disgusting. Oh
So
boy.
funny.
And the other thing that I did that I do not recommend, and I'm going to tell you right now, do not watch this movie.
Okay.
Don't I am not recommending this movie by any stretch of the imagination. I don't know what to say, but there is a part in it that breaks you. Breaks you. You don't expect it to happen. You know, I mean the movie is called A Coffee Table. So you
Okay.
know it has something to do with the coffee table. But what happens with this coffee table breaks you. It is so dark that it's a Spanish movie, so it's got
Okay.
subtitles,
Yeah.
And when it happened, I didn't expect it. I'm like, oh. And then since I watched it, which was 4 days ago, I still can't shake this eerie, horrible feeling. That's how bad this one split second that changes a story screws you up. So yeah, basically it. That's all I've done.
Well, that's good. I mean, it sounds.
It was horrific. After the coffee to watch the coffee table, it was horrific. I mean, I went from watching the coffee table to playing Remothered. Yeah, it's been a dark week. I'm writing the story. Yeah.
I mean, it's sometimes it is what it is. It's just like that. Well, for preparing for this story, I don't know what it's about, and I don't know just by kind of the background and stuff.
Hmm.
I don't think I've ever heard of it.
It's an
So
old case.
it's an
Yeah.
old case. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you wanted me to do statistics on women claiming self-defense or false reporting.
Hmm.
And while precise statistics on women falsely claiming self-defense are difficult to pinpoint, here's a breakdown of some available information. 1. False reports of crime in general. Studies on false reporting of crimes include sexual assault, suggest that rates between 2 and 10% are of the reported being false, with a more rigorous research narrowing the range down to like a 2 to 8%, whatever those parameters that they were
Hmm.
to give it kind of that range. It's important to note that these statistics represent cases classified as false and don't necessarily mean that all other reports are automatically true, which I think is important.
Hmm.
So, when I was investigating and the military was kind of going through this bad image of sexual assault trends,
Hmm.
our floodgates opened. And we had, for military investigations, we had no statute of limitations on any type of sexual assault, groping, touching,
Hmm.
breast brushing.
Hmm.
It was all investigated fully. And I remember one case I investigated was 40 years old. Like,
Wow.
how am I going to find that?
Yeah.
And obviously that would be a person like the suspect that you would be looking at would no longer be a service member. So you would provide that information to a local law enforcement to see for prosecution. And they would laugh and they were like, no, we don't want this.
Right. Oh
So
God.
I kind of get that to say that you have to assume that what they're saying is true and digress and run it fully with
Hmm.
that presumption. But then I've also seen it where it was you know, male and female, completely intoxicated, both of them blacked out, and both of them blamed the other for sexually assaulting. Like, how do you do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Ugh. Well, okay, so the first one I mentioned was the false reports of crime in general. The second one is self defense claims by women. And there's 5 of these. The first one is the battered woman syndrome. The concept of battered woman syndrome, BWS, emerged to explain why some women who have experienced domestic abuse may react violently in self-defense, even when their actions don't fit traditional self-defense models. Because we've talked about that before.
Hmm.
The second one is challenges in self-defense claims. Despite the battered women syndrome, women often face challenges in successfully claiming self defense, particularly when using lethal force against abusers. And this is sometimes due to 3 things. The first thing is difficulty proving imminent danger. Women may struggle to demonstrate that they were in imminent danger at the time of the killing. The second one is perceived unreasonable force. Societal biases may take it societal biases societal biases may make it difficult for jurors to accept a woman's use of force, especially a lethal force, as reasonable in the context of a domestic abuse.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know. That's like victim blaming almost.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
you can't help the situation that you're in. And if you're fighting for your life,
They need to measure what were you fighting for your life? Were
yeah,
you overreacting? Like, did you bring a gun to a knife
good.
fight? Like, what did you do?
Yeah,
Like, they
yeah,
want to make sure that there was, I guess, because if there is a dead person involved, they'd have to also fight for that person as well. So
sure,
I think
sure.
every case is different because domestic violence is horrible and it does fuck with your brain. And when you feel your life is threatened, yes, absolutely, especially a child, if you're
Yeah.
protecting a child, mama bear comes out,
Oh,
you know what?
oh,
You hit
ooh,
first, you ask questions later.
yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then the last challenge it says in self defense claims is the impact of stand your ground laws. Some
Hmm.
research suggests that stand your ground laws, which remove the duty to retreat before using self defense, may not be applied equitably for women, particularly those defending themselves against abusers.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
the third thing that it mentions here is the potential for misinterpretation. While women can be perpetrators of violence, it's crucial to understand that a significant portion of female perpetrated violence may stem from reactive or defensive actions against male aggression.
Hmm.
But if you think about the poison cases and stuff that we used from
Yeah.
centuries ago,
Yeah.
Leonardo Chinchilla, uh, G- uh, Julia Tafana, I mean, you could say those were acts of aggression, but again, is that a reaction to saving them from their abusive husbands? I think the women's role, obviously, in like the 1700s was a little bit different than it is today.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I think she was a little bit of an opportunist to make some money because she had a particular set of skills.
Yeah. So the next one is the importance of context and individual cases, because some of these things are like a case by case presentation of, the totality of circumstances. It's crucial to remember that statistics represent trends and don't define individual cases. Each situation involving a self defense claim, whether by a woman or a man, should be evaluated based on its specific circumstances and evidence.
Mm.
So, in summary, while false accusations of crime, including those involving self defense, do occur, it's important to avoid generalizations based on gender. When
Hmm.
evaluating self defense claims by women, it's crucial to consider the context of potential domestic abuse and the impacts of factors like battered women syndrome and stand your ground laws. So,
Yes.
I hope that helps set you up for this mysterious case today.
Yes, thank you for that intro. And we will be going over, my case does touch on self-defense. Well, it doesn't really touch it. I mean, it smacks it in its face, honestly. So, but it's going to be
But
good, okay? All right. Well, today's case is the 1931 trunk murderess that became one of the most shocking crimes in American history. The case involved jealousy, mental
Ugh.
health issues,
Oh,
complicated relationships,
oh,
and a claim of self defense that would even reach the White House, Cat.
shit.
Damn. There you go.
Bam.
Okay. So, our leading lady today, Winnie Ruth McKinnell. I love that name, Winnie.
Wait, I
Love it.
was just gonna say that. I love Winnie.
Right?
Oh, what was that? Oh, I can see her face. She played Winnie on like the 90s television show.
Oh, I don't know.
I want to say Facts of Life, but it wasn't Facts of Life.
But I think I vaguely kind of remember somebody named Winnie growing up.
The Wonder Years.
Oh,
Remember the
yes.
Wonder Years?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay.
And,
Oh my
and
God, the beautiful girl with the brunette hair.
yes, Winnie.
Winnie.
Winnie
Yes.
Cooper. And that was played by Danica McKellar.
All right. Well, yes, Winnie is a great name, but not this Winnie. This Winnie, not so great. Yeah.
This Winnie is a Lucy.
Yeah, this Winnie's a loser. Oh, Winnie was born on January 29th, 1905 in Oxford, Indiana. Isn't that where you are right now?
I'm in Indiana. Let me see how far it is. An hour and a half. It's an 85-mile drive.
Oh, yeah. That's too far. Winnie doesn't deserve that level of attention. All right.
It's about, well, that would be about halfway between Lorraine and I.
Oh, maybe you guys can meet at the Winnies,
Meet
the
at the Winnies.
McKinnells. No, I'm sure the house isn't there anymore. She was born to Reverend McKinnell and a respected Methodist minister known for his strong moral beliefs,
Mm,
and Carrie McKinnell, a devoted mother who supported her husband's church work.
of course.
Winnie had two siblings. Burton, he was a junior at the University of Southern California, making him around 20 or 21 years old. This is where it gets a little shady because there's not a lot of documentation on the siblings. Like, for instance,
Yeah.
like that's all I know about Burton. And then Dorothy, whose age and life was not well documented. So I
Mhm.
don't know her age, but people described her as friendly and outgoing.
Okay.
Now, I'm assuming with this shady information that Winnie was either the youngest or the middle child, because I'm assuming that Burton was the oldest.
Hmm.
And Dorothy either is not well documented because possibly she was a baby,
Oh,
or that she was the eldest and had a family herself. Because if she was the middle kid, she would have her name would have been dragged in
yeah.
because
Yeah.
everybody else got dragged in.
Okay.
I don't know. We're gonna go with Winnie being the youngest child.
Okay.
So, as a teenager, Winnie worried her parents by falsely claiming she was pregnant. And her parents were horrified. I mean, these are two church going, loving, a minister.
Hmm.
He doesn't mess like that. He doesn't mess around like that. But his daughter,
Well,
no.
they say the preacher's daughter's the worst.
Yeah, they always say that. They always say that about like Catholic schoolgirls and stuff like that. They were the worst. No offense to any Catholic
No,
schoolgirls, but
no.
we get it. I mean, we're all women. We get it. Anyway, so they even took Winnie to the local doctor to check if she was pregnant a couple of times, and each time he was like, "Nope, she's not pregnant." And they also had like a test to do to make sure she was still a virgin.
Oh, it was probably, what is it, the hymen?
Yeah, to make sure it's still
Yeah.
intact. But yeah, it's just an invasive thing. But I guess sign of the times.
Hmm.
Winnie had a habit of risky behaviors, like she would run away from home and even make up dramatic stories about being kidnapped.
She had an imagination. Oh my gosh.
She did. She did. Her parents became increasingly concerned about her mental health and stability. Yeah. At age 17, Winnie married Dr. William Judd, a World War One veteran who was not only significantly older than her, he was 48 at the
Oh
time.
my gosh. This could be your dad.
I know.
Oh my god. How did her parents feel about that?
Good riddance. Good luck with her.
Well, he's a doctor. He'll take care of her. Right? Right.
He was also struggling with morphine addiction. Dude, not to laugh. This isn't funny, but it just like, I don't know. He was dealing with a lot of war injuries, probably post traumatic
Mm,
stress, and their treatment back then was morphine. So,
yeah.
and I'm pretty sure they didn't have some type of way to wean off of that. So, I don't know. William was often described as a troubled man who had difficulty maintaining steady employment
As a doctor. Really?
as a doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
The couple moved to Mexico, but always struggled financially. After marriage, Winnie desperately wanted children. And one day she finally found out she's pregnant. Yay!
Yay.
But William insisted that she terminate her first
Oh my
pregnancy.
gosh.
He didn't want children yet.
Did he? Yeah, he was almost 50.
I don't think he really wanted
At
children. I
all.
know,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, but then again, if you think about it, like, if you're getting married at 48 for the first time and having kid, and that, I
I
mean,
was gonna
your
say he
whole
doesn't
life
have
isn't
any
surrounded about
older
you.
kids, or anything like that.
No, no.
Wow. Okay.
She did get pregnant two more times, but both pregnancies ended up in miscarriages, which was devastating for her. But when you think about it, it's just like, oh, after being forced to have an
And I,
abortion and then
I mean, abortions 100 years ago probably weren't as safe, and it could have caused
the
the chances
miscarriages.
of not being able to carry full term. Yeah.
That's terrible. Now, in 1930, Winnie moved back to the United States, finding employment in Phoenix,
Okay.
Arizona. First, she worked as a governess, and she loved it because she loved taking care of the children. She loved kind of running the household, but she needed a better paying job. And this is when she found a job. She worked as a medical secretary at a medical clinic in Phoenix,
Hmm.
Arizona. There, she met a gentleman, Jack Halloran, a charming, wealthy, married businessman known for his
Oh.
popularity and his love affairs, cat.
Ah,
He was Casanova. Yeah. Guess what happened? Well, Winnie and Jack started an affair.
saw it coming.
Now, while working in the medical field, Winnie also met Anne Leroy and Hedvig Sammy Samuelson. Anne was an x ray technician, and Sammy, a former school teacher who was also suffering from
Mm.
tuberculosis. The three women became very good friends,
Oh,
very good coworkers. Well,
I was thinking that
hmm?
Hedvig was a male.
No, that's a female. Yeah.
Okay.
Anne Leroy was born in 1904 in Portland, Oregon, to parents James and Mary. Anne had two siblings, William and Jean. She had a pretty normal childhood, no
Mhm.
issues. At the time of meeting Winnie, Anne was an experienced nurse who had been divorced twice.
Oh.
Seeking better employment, she moved to Phoenix in 1931, and this is where she started working at the same medical
Yeah.
clinic that Winnie was working at. Now, Sammy was a friend of
Hmm.
Anne's. Sammy is her nickname, by the way. That's what
Yeah.
everybody called her, not Hedvig. She was born 1907 in Minnesota to Swedish immigrant parents, Nels and Emma. She had two siblings. Once again, a very normal
Mhm.
life, no issues. Sammy became a school teacher, moving to Juneau, Alaska, but later contracted
Oh.
tuberculosis. She relocated to Phoenix after Anne recommended the dry climate would help her recover.
Hmm.
Winnie, Anne, and Sammy spent a lot of time together, often at social gatherings organized by Jack Halloran.
Oh. Oh, did Jack have them all?
Uh huh.
Uh-huh.
Winnie never formally divorced her husband, but they were separated and living apart.
Hmm.
Winnie actually moved in with Anne and Sammy. The three of them were living large, partying every night, paid in full by her sugar daddy, Jack.
Jackie boy.
Yeah, so this is definitely like a three-way love affair.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we don't get into his relationship with Sammy and Anne, but yeah, like there's. Mhm.
Hmm.
However, everything changed when Winnie introduced Jack to Lucy Moore,
Oh.
an attractive nurse that worked in the facility.
Yeah.
Okay. Anne and Sammy, hell no. You're not gonna introduce him to any more pretty girls.
Mhm.
We're the pretty girls.
Yeah.
They first of all, they know Jack with women.
Yes.
They know Jack loves women and he's got wandering eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was their sugar daddy.
They didn't want another chick in the mix.
No. And Winnie, I guess, didn't realize, and maybe Winnie wanted to grow the bunch by one. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know. So, anyway, on October 16th, 1931, Winnie visited Anne and Sammy, who confronted her angrily about Lucy,
Okay.
threatening to reveal medical information about Winnie and her crazy behavior in the past. So, Jack did not know about her crazy lies and what her parents like. I guess she disclosed it to her girlfriends,
Hmm.
but Jack didn't know that she was a little cuckoo and cocoa puffs.
Yeah.
And this is something that she held close to her chest that she didn't want people to know, especially Jack, because she was trying to impress him. And remember, he's still married.
Yeah.
Now, during the heated argument, Sammy pulled a gun, pointed it at Winnie. Winnie ended up raising her hand to block, I guess, like a defensive move, like just to block it.
Hmm.
And Sammy pulled the trigger and shot Winnie in the hand.
Oh gosh.
Then I don't know, like this is the shady part or the gray area here because we don't know if the recoil, like that's why she dropped the gun, or if she was so shocked that she did this to Winnie that's why she dropped the gun.
Yeah.
We don't know, but the gun ended up on the floor. Winnie, with her other hand, grabbed the gun. And then she pulled the trigger and she shot Sammy dead.
Okay.
Sammy was
Wow.
dead. And then Anne tried to wrestle the gun away from Winnie,
Yeah.
and Winnie shot her dead too. We got two dead bodies.
Wow. Okay.
Now, the next day, Winnie took the train to Los Angeles, arriving at Union Station. She was dragging two chests, one large and one medium size. Now, when I say chests, I mean those 1930 Louis Vuitton box looking
Yes.
chests. Okay.
I have one of those.
Do you really?
Yeah. I
Like,
turned it into my retirement trunk. Did I ever show you a picture?
no.
Yeah, so it's got like all of my military coins and patches, uniforms. Like it's a nice display. I bet it's from the 1930s.
You got to post pictures. I got
So,
to see it now. I
well,
got to
I'm
see
not
it.
home, so I'll have to do it later.
Okay. Yes. So now when the baggage man, because you still have to check in baggage
Yeah.
when you're arriving at the station.
Yeah.
So the baggage man noticed that there was something dripping from the box from the trunks,
Mhm.
and it was red. Looked like blood. And he's like, "Listen, ma'am, I need to search, find out what's leaking. I can't just let that go onto
Right.
the train." He asked her to open it. She's like, "I don't have the key. Sorry." And before he realized, she left. Like she disappeared. Like she skipped immediately when she realized something was leaking
Yeah.
and somebody noticed. She was out of there. I
Did
guess she just kind of faded into the crowd.
and did she left the trunks there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
When the police showed up, they opened the large chest
Hmm.
first and they found the body of Anne all folded up. Okay.
Wow.
But when they opened up the smaller, medium sized chest, they did not expect what they saw. It was horrifying.
Mm.
The smaller chest contained Sammy, but her body hadn't neatly been folded. Oh
Yeah.
no, it was in pieces.
Oh.
She dismembered the entire body and wedged each piece into the
Ah.
trunk and then closed it. How did she not think it was not going to bleed?
Uh,
This is a twist here that we're going to get to later on. So
mhm.
just keep a nugget in that, like keep a pin in
Mhm.
just this little fact. That's the fact that here's Winnie. I don't know if how did she not know that?
Yeah.
Well, okay. We're going to put a pin
Well,
in that. Yeah. So
yeah.
now the police had two bodies and the owner vanished. They had no idea where she went. Winnie could not be found. She eventually called her husband after a couple of days. And
Oh.
on October 23rd, 1931, the two of them went to Oliver and Moore's funeral chapel. And that's where Winnie decided to turn herself into police. So I
Mhm.
guess the husband convinced her to turn herself in,
Mhm.
probably saying it wasn't your fault, you were attacked,
Right.
right? And they decided to go have the police pick her up at the funeral chapel.
Okay.
Now, this was also a stroke of brilliance. When the police arrived,
Mhm.
Winnie was mobbed by photographers.
Oh.
So I feel like this was done on purpose, you know? So, like, here she is. She's walking out of the chapel.
Yeah.
All the newspapers were already saying, like, this is the trunk murderess, you know? Like, she was already infamous with that name, you know?
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to know what
Yeah.
she looked like, all this stuff. And she was mobbed by all these reporters and photographers on the steps of this funeral home,
Yeah.
but she was wearing a fur coat that she stole from the sanitarium. This is what they saw on the steps. She was glamorous. She was beautiful. She was very photogenic. She became the headline news across America. And this is her in the middle of us.
Mhm.
She's beautiful. You know, she's
Yeah.
got that quintessential 1930s look. Yep. When I think of this case, I kind of think the Great Gatsby a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
At this point, she was transported back to Arizona,
Okay.
awaiting trial.
Yeah.
Her trial began on January 19th, 1932, in Phoenix. Initially, she was being tried only for the murder of Anne. Okay, so this was broken up into two different cases
Okay.
individually.
Yeah.
So the first one was the murder of Anne. Her defense lawyers thought starting with the disembowelment of Sammy would be too incriminating. So they were like, let's try Anne first. And if she gets away with that, and if she's found innocent,
Yeah.
then maybe the courts, if they do something with Sammy's case and they put her away, it won't be for that long.
Right.
I guess, I mean,
Well,
that's a
and a lot of that
strategy.
too is that whole after incident behaviors and actions, right? And
Mhm.
reactions, like how you respond after the fact. And
Yeah,
apparently her trying to cover it up, it kind of
right.
goes along with a guilty line.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interestingly, every member of the jury was asked if they knew Jack Halloran, but it was never clarified why they were asking it.
So when they were doing jury selection,
Yeah.
okay.
Like they wanted to know if they knew of Jack Halloran. But he was never like, why? This isn't about Jack Halloran. Now,
Mhm.
Jack was also present at the trial every day. Oh, his wife must have loved that. But he never spoke on the record or off the record.
Okay.
And he was never called as a witness, even though he was so close to the three girls. Whitney maintained that she shot the women in self defense when they attacked her during an argument. But the prosecutors had another theory.
Mm-hmm.
They said that she entered the residence while they were two were sleeping, and then she shot them in the head out of jealousy over Jack. Now, I guess back then forensics were they really didn't have it,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
and the bodies were, I mean, cut up. I mean, Sammy's were cut up. So,
Hmm.
but I'm thinking like when I was looking at like where the bullet landed in Ant, like I couldn't find that information. So
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know.
Like autopsy information.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So now on February 8th, Winnie was sentenced to death by hanging,
Oh.
but public pressure started to mount to spare her life due to her claims of self defense.
Mm-hmm.
30 state legislators and a group of 34 ministers and priests signed petitions. Arizona authorities received several thousand letters on her behalf.
Mm-hmm.
Even Eleanor Roosevelt expressed
Ah,
concern. There it is. There's
there
the
it is.
ticket. Several days before the hanging was to take place, the court held a sanity hearing and found Whitney insane. They were like,
Okay.
she's crazy. She's crazy. We can't hang her. She's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what. Because when Eleanor comes out, you don't not do what Eleanor
Yeah.
says. I mean, this is 1930, you
Yeah.
know? The judge then ordered her to be sent to the Arizona State Hospital, but there was one stipulation. And that was if she was ever to be rehabilitated and found sane again, that she would immediately be hanged. Like, it's a great stipulation. You would, even if you were lying, you could never admit you were lying. You
Yeah.
would have to act crazy for the rest of
Be
your life.
be crazy for the rest of your life. Yep.
Oh my God. However, Winnie escaped the asylum 7 times. Her last
Wow.
escape was in 1962, and this lasted over 6 years. She was missing for 6 years.
Wow.
During this time, she moved to California, and she was working as a caretaker for a wealthy woman.
Hmm.
And there were some people on the block that recognized her, some neighbors, and they just called police. And then she was rearrested
Oh, wow.
and recaptured in 1969. She was released on parole in 1971 and fully discharged in 1983. Now, Winnie returned to California and changed her name to Marianne Lane.
So she was released from the asylum
Mm-hmm.
and
And
paroled
discharged.
and didn't have to get hung.
No,
I don't think they were hanging at this time
I don't think
anymore.
so either. Yeah. Many people think that Winnie was not the only person involved in the murders. Some say that Jack Halloran was involved even in the murders themselves, or even the cover up afterwards.
Okay.
Think about it. Like, I think she would need something. We're talking about a 24-hour turnover.
Hmm.
I think she would need some help if she's going to dismember a body
Yeah.
and shove another one in a case.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like her walking into the train station just willy-nilly with two cases, not realizing that they could possibly leak. I feel like that was an overlook of
Yeah.
Jack's.
Yeah.
I just don't. I feel like
Don't you know you
she would.
drain the blood first?
Well, I feel like she was just like. I'm not saying she's not guilty. I'm not
Sure.
saying she didn't partake in this, but I'm just saying I don't feel she did this alone
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
After she was convicted, Whitney said after the murders, she called Jack and he took care of everything.
Mm.
After that,
Mm.
I guess like she's admitting this.
Hmm.
She's saying like
He.
she murdered them. She called Jack and he was there.
Yeah.
And I think he was just too well known, too popular to convict.
That's why he was there, just in case his name came out.
Ooh, good point. Good
Yeah.
point. She wrote in a letter in 1952 where she described the dismemberment, calling it a ghastly deed. And again, maintained that she shot the two women in self defense.
Hmm.
She said that she transported the bodies because she was suffering from shock. So she didn't know what she was doing. But wrote, I've asked God many times to forgive me. Now, once again, you see Winnie, right? She's right there.
Yeah.
She's not a big lady.
Yeah.
You're telling me she dismembered and dragged
Yeah.
two body, like, come on,
Yeah.
there had to be somebody else,
Yeah.
even if she's in a state of shock. Like, I don't know,
And
I don't
even
know.
so, medical shock, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't function. So if she's saying it was like a medically, like I'm in shock, I'm going into
Yeah,
shock, like you don't have
yeah,
that ability to have that function. You have to
yeah.
lay down, cool washcloth on the head, raise your feet, elevate your feet, get blood to your heart, kind of thing, like get blood to your head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she wouldn't physically have been able to do that at all.
Well, we're probably never gonna know the whole truth about what happened that
True.
night. But you know what? Now that you mentioned that Jack was sitting in the in the courtroom, maybe he was there also as to intimidate either jurors or the judge because he was well known enough
Like that
and
prominent.
powerful
Yeah.
enough
Yeah.
that he's like, maybe in his mind, he's like, well, she's got to go through this
Hmm.
because the public knows what she did,
Yeah.
but let her go through it. And I will, I mean, she got overwhelming support right?
Mm-hmm.
Overwhelming support. Now, no offense,
Poor little girl.
these two girls are dead.
Yeah.
She killed them. She cut one up. So no offense, she deserves life in prison.
Yeah.
So like self-defense is you do something and then you freeze, you call the police and say I
Yeah.
had to do this because whatever.
Yeah.
She didn't do that. She went the next step. So like maybe all of the support that she received, maybe Jack had a connection to the White House
Mm.
and said, listen, I'm gonna get her out, but
Yeah.
we gotta go through the process right now, the court process, and
Yeah.
then just get her to an insane asylum.
Yeah.
She's safe there,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he
Oh,
loved her.
jeez.
I don't
Well, I
know.
mean, maybe she was obviously his favorite
Yeah.
of them. And
Oh,
I don't know.
it's crazy. The Trunk murders remain famous, and it also inspires books and films such as the 2007 film Murderess, the Winnie Ruth Judge story,
Mm.
and the 2009 novel Bury Me Deep by Megan Abbott. Many journalists speculate about Jack Halloran's deeper involvement, although he was, like we said, never formally charged.
Yeah.
Winnie Ruth Judd passed away peacefully in her sleep on October 23rd, 1998, in
Wow.
Phoenix at the age of 93, leaving behind a hell of a mystery.
Yeah.
So that is my story on the Trunk Murderess.
I've never heard of this.
Isn't that crazy?
No, I've never
I
heard
love
of
it.
it. Oh, and I don't, I do believe Jack or somebody else was involved
Yes. Yeah.
telling her or trying to convince her that you got to get the bodies out. And what did she ever say why she was taking them to California? Like, or on a train? Was she going to like drop them off or like,
I honestly think that the plan was so here's what I think.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I think that Jack helped her dismember all that stuff, pack it nicely.
huh,
I think Jack miscalculated on the fluids that are going to escape.
okay,
But I think Jack told her and the luggage, like he's like, take the luggage out of Arizona, leave,
mm-hmm.
bring them to California. California's got plenty of dead bodies. Bring them, dump them, come back,
Oh, yeah. What?
and then she could
Yeah,
be his lone
mistress.
Gumata.
What about Lucy? What happened to Lucy?
Yeah, thank God Lucy just stayed out of it.
Too much for me.
Oh my God, I can only imagine what Lucy is thinking. Like, oh, I really dodged the
Yeah,
bullet there.
yeah.
No pun intended. Oh my
I'm
God.
wondering if part of that too was maybe Winnie's job was to get the trunks on the train and then just like
And then leave.
abandon it. Like,
Yes,
because
I think
then,
that could be yeah. Like get the trunks in
yeah,
transit.
get it.
Get them someplace
Nobody's gonna
else.
come and look for it, and then they're gonna,
Right.
see that somebody didn't claim luggage, and they're gonna go, ah, it's bloody. Where did this come from? Because
Right.
they didn't track bags like they do now. You don't
No.
get a baggage claim ticket, you know. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
Interesting. Well, cool. Thanks for
Yeah.
doing that. I didn't know about that
Oh,
story.
you're welcome.
I mean, we got dismemberment. We've got, was it self-defense?
It's
I
in
mean,
there.
possibly. If they were outing her, maybe they knew that she was Jack's favorite and they were
Maybe.
attacking her. I mean, again, that would be self-defense, but yeah, it was the actions that she did after that were super sketch. Like,
Right.
self-defense is one thing. Everybody has a right to protect themselves from
Right.
somebody being violent, or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
what you do after, like you were saying, like, okay, I'm done. Now I'm calling the police. Like, the
Right.
imminent threat has stopped.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go call police
And it's
and,
not like she went there armed. It wasn't her gun. So she could have easily
right.
claimed self-defense that they pulled that gun on her.
Yeah.
But what she did afterwards annihilated whatever claim of self-defense she thought she had. I just feel like that was
Yeah.
they,
Yeah. Cutting up a
no,
body.
she
Nah.
should have just called the police and said, "My friends just attacked me.
Yeah.
I'm wounded. She has a bullet through her hand."
Yeah. Oh, and then trying to carry those trunks
Yeah.
with her hand?
Right.
Oh my
Uh-huh. There's
gosh.
so many
Those
loopholes.
trunks are empty, are
Yeah.
heavy.
This case has scandal written all over it. This is I'm telling you, Jack has a huge part to play in this.
Yeah.
Okay, well, because we're not leaving you hanging, chatters, for more information on this case, please check out After That Crime Chat, only available on Patreon.
And don't forget to check out all of our socials. Crime Chat with Nat and Cat on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, X, Rumble. See what we got going on.
Yes, remember, Crime Chat with Nat and Cat, when you become a VIP chatter to our Patreon, you'll have access to bonus episodes, behind the scenes, bloopers, and free merch, and check out some merch in the works.
And check out our next episode. So we have a bonus episode whenever there's 5 Saturdays in a month.
Yes.
We do a bonus. And our bonus episode for the theme this season is Into the Unknown. So we will both share some unknown stories.
You do not want to miss it.
No. We'll see you next time. Bye.